Hello and welcome. I'm Adam and this is the Muddy Isles Mayhem Himi rally build. Why? That's a good question. I guess why not? It's a fun platform with a few limiting features. I don't think I'll create the perfect bike, but I believe I can make a better one than the current one. I'm hoping this ideas videos may end up a little bit differently from the 1290 videos, being a little bit shorter with more of a focus on building something from scratch and showing the prototyping background through to the final project. My background lies in motorcycle mechanics and now engineering. I'm currently sitting through my mechanical engineering diploma and we'll see if it helps me at all along through this process. Without further delay, this is me. I'd done a bit of off-roading before on an old DR200 from 1986 years back. I got the Himi to get back into it. It was the perfect bike, except it wasn't. That led to me starting to develop a list of things I needed to improve. Now don't get me wrong, it was definitely a capable bike, and it was not treated gently. This leads us to the plan. We'll start with the base bike. Mine was very similar to this, except I added Xana crash bars from the get-go, a decision I would regret later on. So we'll start with the problems and move on to solutions after. The first problem being the clearance. I am forever bashing the rear shock linkage, catching the pegs on top of ruts, and let's not get started on that poor tinfoil bash plate. The next problem, and a slightly easier fix, the mudguard. The lower mudguard would get clogged up with mud. Simple, right? Just remove it. You still have a top mudguard. No, the top one catches nothing, leading to everything getting absolutely plastered in mud. The third problem was the rear wheel. It's not a huge one, but sitting at 17 inches, it limits the choice for off-road capable tyres for sure. Then came the elephant in the room, the weight. Sitting at around 200 kgs, it's not a light bike for a measly 24 brake horsepower. And finally, as we've just mentioned, the power. Aside from fitting some Renthols and some handguards to combat the chocolate handlebar problem, one of the first tasks I tackled has been the mudguard. I found the Perturbis NOST Universal to fit quite nicely after some spaces were made. Not only does it allow mud to pass under it, but it does manage to prevent a lot of it being sprayed over me and the bike. I also think it looks pretty cool. I left the original mudguard brace in place to keep the forks nice and stable. For the tyres, I fitted some Mitas Enduro XT Plus Dakar tyres, which I have found absolutely perfect for off-road and on-road. They get a bit slippy in wet grass, but it's not often they don't fill me with confidence, and I would happily accept the sponsorship because I seem to burn them out way too quickly. To get a little bit more out of the engine, I fitted a Tech Bike parts cam and a 14-tooth sprocket. Yep, that's right, I dropped a tooth on the sprocket. Most go up for the cruising speed at highways. However, I wanted a bit more low-down torque and haven't looked back since. With the cam, the bike will still sit at 70 up to 80, albeit a little bit closer to redline. I didn't say this bike wasn't abused. There's definitely more planned for the engine down the line, but that's all for now. To make the plate a bit less likely to snap off, but to keep to the legal size for the UK, I relocated it up. This included getting the angle grinder out to cut off a bit of the plastic underside, removing the indicator spacers and moving those inwards, and at the same time removing the rear rack, but I'll touch on that a bit more in a second. The biggest undertaking so far has been the weight. I removed a lot. This includes those lovely crash bars I mentioned earlier. I also took off the centre stand and the passenger foot pegs, along with the passenger seat foam to create a trail for a tailback. For those familiar with the Himis, they will have noticed at the start of the video the front end is a bit different. I wanted to remove the upper crash bars as there's a lot of weight there too. However, they also hold up the headlight and indicators. It's at this point I feel I have to mention this is a budget build. From the scraps in my garage, I managed to cut and shut a front end together using old brackets and some of those crash bars to enable me to mount the headlights, indicators, and to sit the dash a little bit higher. My welder is currently out of action, so it's down to bolts and bending the metal to fit. As it stands, this rally-esque tower is the last modification I've made. Everything's in the prototyping stage, which means the bracket that can be seen here holding up the dash will be straight when finalised. The testing footage can be seen in the next video. I've still got a long way to go with the 18-inch rear wheel, clearance including suspension, more power and further weight reduction to come. I'm hoping to record some of the process, so hopefully anyone who's interested can see behind the scenes. Please enjoy this sneak preview of the testing footage and thank you for watching.